Hello everybody, this is Fado Abdrabu reporting for UN in Syria. All elements of planning, building and financing must take gender dimensions into account so that women have access to the facilities and services essential to their needs and rights. Women's employment and presence in decision-making ranks fall far short of gender balance. From the factory floor to the high-tech lab, women must have equal opportunities in building a shared, sustainable future. Women have a critical role to play in achieving all the Sustainable Development Goals. Many SDGs targets specifically recognize women's equality and empowerment as both the objective and part of the solution. Goal number 5 is the standalone gender goal because it is dedicated to achieving women's role in all the other SDGs. Please join me today to welcome Mr. David Akopyan, the acting resident representative of the United Nations Development Program in Syria. Welcome.
Thank you, Fatma, very much, and pleasure to be with you here today. And was delighted to speak about the gender issues and what UNDP is doing here on gender and beyond also gender. So maybe I'll say a few words about what UNDP is all about in Syria. Syrian people had been through very difficult times the last 8 years. And UNDP tried to be with them through very difficult times and to be with them under all circumstances. And now when things are getting gradually out of war, normalization, etc., UNDP role is getting even more, broader space for us to do many useful things for the people. From very early recovery to rehabilitation to creating living infrastructure and environment for the people to continue the social infrastructure, municipal services to start working, to livelihood, to job opportunities, and to build back the most important, to heal society back, to bring the social cohesion to Syria also. So these are all the main 3 pillars of UNDP work in Syria. Maybe if you allow me, I want to say a couple of words about SDGs also.
Yes, please.
And I have a special passion about SDGs because I myself was part of the team designing SDGs. For many people, they believe that we have like our daily goals, many things. And then there's something separate, which is SDGs, which is we need to finish many things today, and then later we turn to SDGs. And even when we speak about Syria, they're saying, no, this is a crisis reality, this is humanitarian reality, we don't need to talk about SDGs. And I want to demystify. SDGs are not about something abstract. SDGs about poverty, SDGs about education, SDGs about, let's say, education, health, about clean water, clean environment, about human rights, about the functioning institutions, and many other good things which we need today, tomorrow, and for the next 10 years till we reach 2030. So importantly also, within this SDG broad, let's say, spectrum of issues, women stand as a very critical part of this, because women eventually are equal half of humanity. 50% of human beings are women, and there is a historic unfairness done. The patriarchal societies, for centuries, generations, 1,000 years, women were marginalized. Now, the last century, especially the last few years, things are treated very differently. And this is the time also we as UNDP also to do our best, because when we say in SDGs, no one left behind, among this no one, there are 50%, which is 3.5 billion of women in this world, which need to be taken equally and fairly.
Thank you for this overview, but how you make sure as UNDP in Syria that gender sensitivity is reflected in all your programs?
I think first I want to say I lived my 10 years of professional life in a very deep crisis countries. So Afghanistan, Somalia, now Syria, so 10 years in a crisis. And when you compare the way the women are treated in Syria to comparing to the other crisis places I lived through, there is enough respect and enough space for women in Syria. So in Afghanistan, Somalia also, I've seen many prominent, very capable, very charismatic women, but they were shining. And there were many which were undermined, ignored, etc., etc. Here, when I view, Syrian society is very sophisticated. There are a lot of, let's say, quite advanced women, etc. But one side is still there is a major space for the woman to get more prominent role in the society, in the politics in the society, in the peacemaking process, in economic opportunities, and many other things. So all this, and importantly also in the social cohesion, women became the drivers on many things in this country. Many men are in a war, women became breadwinners, women became the problem solvers, much more than usually women are. So, and our work, our program need to make sure that there is enough attention to this woman now to respect and appreciate the space they have taken and to give them more for the future also to come. Maybe for about the gender sensitivity specifically, I think it's important that we don't just preach others without reflecting on ourselves also. We as UNDP need to be as gender sensitive office first, and we are making our best effort. Like I had deputy, she's a woman, she was part of the management team. All our management team, we have head of our finance, head of our procurement, two heads of our program units, number of our heads of the regional offices, many capable women are part of UNDP decision making in Syria. Second is our partners, implementing partners, let's say contracted partners also. There are many prominent women among them also, so our channels of delivery, there should be fairness between men and women in this process, and we have many of them. And then, of course, when we come to the beneficiary, to men and women, boys and girls also, we need to make a special effort. Yes, our program eventually are trying to cover as many as possible in all parts of Syria, but we understand that there's special disadvantage many women are currently in. So whatever we do with this special focus that we check how many women has been assistant, how many women benefited from our work, how many women were part of our decision-making process. So all these actions eventually help us to make our program enough gender sensitive.
Yeah, so gender is in the core of the UNDP programs in Syria. Once we design a program, you make sure that gender is reflected and it's all the programs are sensitive. So you mentioned that you're working inside the UN as a policy towards empowering women and also with partners and with beneficiaries themselves. But there must be lots of concerns, David. I mean, you've been working in a very high crisis countries for the past decade, over a decade. I'm sure you've seen lots of concerns or challenges that you have.
Sure, it is not an easy struggle for the woman and for the men to make things equal in this society. I mean, as I said, there are thousands years of the history in the culture, in the mindset, in the
Yeah.
language, etc., etc. Every society has made its own mistakes on this. And then we finally came to this understanding that women and men are all equal and they are different on different issues. Not necessarily the physical work we do for debris removal, men and women should do equally. But for example, when we do social cohesion, women are more peaceful in their nature. They may find some very special way to bring people together, which not obviously the men could do from that angle also. So that's why whenever we are working in our programmatically, we understand the perspective we are coming and the very important role the woman can be playing in delivering our programs.
We follow you and we see you're always close to people. You are engaged with people, with communities. You are in the field. Can you give us some of the examples
Sure.
of those?
I mean, again,
Yeah.
I traveled extensively all around the Syria. I've been, maybe with one exception, in all provincial capitals, capitals of the regions, and I've traveled outside the places. So I've seen society which in a desperate need for attention. Men, women, boys, girls, I mean, elderly, etc., etc. Terrible. I mean, I've seen hospitals destroyed and women delivering babies under rubble and without water and electricity, which is terrible. I mean, they were crying, and you are feeling that this is something I touch my heart. I mean, you cannot see this, you cannot live with this, and then we are trying to do so. I mean, I've seen a young girl, and which is like something I'm going to keep with all my life, the memory about her. This girl in Terezor, Hanin. I mean, she lost her leg on a mine in 2016, Terezor. I mean, when I met first her, I mean, she had this prosthetic leg done by UNDP, but the way she presented herself, that she want to learn the English, she want to study, she want to show the world what happened with her, what is happening with 2 million other kids in this country. if they don't go to schools. And 2 million kids mean 1 million boy, 1 million girl. And boys and girls, they have different aspirations in some aspects. So with the boys, we need to be careful for them not to go to the wrong side of the history, and the schooling will help. The girls also, sometimes they go also the wrong side, but for them to get equal opportunities in the life, to be part of the constructive part of this society, to contribute to making Syria a better place for them and for their own children. This is something which I really feel very passionate about.
So through the eyes of Hanin, do you see an opportunity for the improvement of a balance for better life for women in Syria?
No, this, in fact, I mean, I was presenting in some big gathering recently, when I said one of the major inspirations I got for my job is this girl, 10 years old, because you go to the place which does not have much hope. There's a deeply destroyed city, damage. People are locked and they are not looking very happy. You go to the hospital, half rehabilitated, half still in the process. Sick people, terrible conditions, etc., etc. Suddenly you see this girl who lost the leg, who should have been losing all the chances in the life, but she's shining with her hope for her aspiration, with the dream for her future and determination to build. If she can dream and if she can deliver, I mean, it is shame for us not to believe and not to hope that Syria will be a better place soon for many.
So is this an example that motivates you to continue on your
absolutely.
humanitarian message?
Absolutely. This is, again, for me, a very good example that it's not just the smart and the best scholars in the world could be the examples. I mean, she gave me more inspiration than many probably inspirational leadership course trainers or the gurus who are teaching this stuff, because it is very natural for her to show this, and this is within her. And I'm sure there are thousands and thousands girls like her in this country which will build their own future and which deserves all the possible assistance from all. And it's not just about food or medicine, but it is the knowledge, it is opportunities in the life, and they surely deserve this. It is UNDP, it is many other UN agencies who are working very hard to help them to find their own space in the life.
How you see the UN in Syria is pursuing an agenda for a better future for women in Syria?
I think it's, again, a Syrian woman, to me, they have a lot of, let's say, good qualities. They have been through, I mean, like the rest of the Syrian society also, the last 8 years was very difficult for them. Some of them probably lost the hope. Some of them, they managed to become the leaders of the families, the breadwinners, many other things. But then I think what is important, again, for the woman to regain back fully the role they should play historically and now in Syria, I think we have a lot to do with them. We need to help them, starting from this young girl to millions and millions other women also in the society, to give them all the good chances, to give them educational opportunities, professional job opportunities, to help them to get into new knowledge economy, to learn about the new stuff. The world with connection with internet is so much interconnected, and it's enough. I was promoting the same idea time ago in Somalia also, that we cannot build all the schools in 2-3 years, but maybe through internet we can give them the opportunity. And the same year, I mean, rebuilding thousands and thousands of schools will take time, but maybe internet can give these kids opportunity to learn quickly and to catch up with the world.
Thank you so much, David. Thanks for your time. And everybody, thank you so much for watching us. To learn more about UNDP programs in Syria, please visit our website, un.org.syria.
Thank you very much, and it's really a pleasure to talk to the audience. I think UNDP has done some good stuff, but a long way to go in Syria, and especially for women also. Thank you.
The UN continues to support Syrians all over Syria. Thank you so much.